Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. Fight fans worldwide, you've tuned into the number one undisputed boxing podcast today. This is the Boxing Breakdown. Now, your heavy-handed, hard-hitting host, Mark Roxy.
What's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome back to another edition of the Boxing Breakdown, and I am your host, Mark Roxy, and we are here with my good friend and partner in crime, Mr. Harold Hunt. What's up, what's up, what's up, my brother?
What's up, man? Hey, we got so much to get on to, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm a little sleepy. To be honest, but I'm good. I'm excited. It is, it is a good day. We are here to talk about the Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder mega match number 3, the post fight, meaning the day after. Yeah, man, I'm super stoked to be here, man. And I cannot believe how the fight went. Well, actually, I can believe how the fight went, but I really want to just, for those of you that are listening in, if you were able to see the fight, it definitely was a fight of the ages, and it delivered. Harold, give me your perspective before I offload, and dump all my perspective here. Tell me what you thought of the fight.
Great fight, man. What we saw was a lot of heart displayed. We saw a lot of the situation where I'm going to get my pound of flesh no matter what.
Right.
I'm going to attempt to try to really use what I've learned and incorporate it, and I'm going to prove everyone wrong. That was Deontay Wilder's mindset.
Right.
So I was happy to see that. So from Fury's standpoint, just briefly, he wanted to prove that he was the heavyweight champion of the world, and he was going to apply the same situation to this fight as he did the last.
Right.
And that was his mandate. So both of them came in with their situations intact, and they were going to actually make it work. And it was a great fight because of it.
Yeah, man. I just, I don't even know where to begin because, first of all, I thought it was a brilliant display of heart on both, for both men. They just displayed a tremendous amount of heart, a tremendous amount of dedication to try to win. And I thought, man, these two guys are trying to take each other's heads off with every shot. And, I felt that Deontay Wilder, for all the pomp and circumstance about whether or not he had improved or whether or not he didn't improve, I wonder, what did you think about his improvement? Did you see an improvement in his work?
Well, when he first came out, he had initiated the jabs to the body, the jabs to the head. He kept coming forward. He didn't let himself be pushed back on the back foot initially. And he actually threw some 1-2s and landed some few punches in the first two, in the Deontay Wilder fashion.
Right.
So he did, in fact, improve in his style to kind of combat Tyson. But, as we know, it morphed into something else. But he came in with his training showing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I definitely think it was like round 20, right? Of the previous fights. I mean, I think that, he lands some very material punches, and he scored some very material knockdowns. And I thought that, for those people out there that are saying that, Tyson Fury dominated the fight, I don't know that that was the case. He certainly imposed his will in the fight. He certainly staked his claim in the ring, and he wasn't giving up ground. He wasn't trying to give up ground, But I think it was just a matter of who got the better of the other, because they both did a great job. I mean, I felt there were some very good things that Deontay Wilder did in the fight. The stab to the body was good. I mean, there were a lot of very, very good things that he did. But I will tell you this, Harold, in my assessment of the fight, and I'd be very interested to hear what you think about what I'm about to say, which is that in the course of the fight, the one thing that Deontay Wilder was doing, especially after the third or fourth round, is he was moving himself to the left. He was moving to his left. And not only was he moving to the left, but he's moving to the left with no angle on his jab, no angle on the hook. So, in other words, he's moving toward the power hand of the Gypsy King. And as he's fading out and fading back, he would occasionally throw a hook, which was not going to land because he wasn't even in the right distance to throw the hook. And as he tried to throw the hook, he'd be countered over the top constantly, to the point where I think Tyson Fury saw that shot. He understood that it was there. He understood when he was going to take advantage of it, which wasn't going to be early on in the fight. He knew it was there, but he also knew that Deontay Wilder was way too strong. Hence the early knockdowns, that came where Fury went down. Deontay Wilder was pretty strong in those moments. There were a couple of shots behind the head from Deontay Wilder. He threw some shots behind the head that caught Fury in the back, and I felt that that was probably the most fundamental mistake that Deontay Wilder made the entire fight, was he was drifting out to his left and with his guard down. And, that was not a good look. So what do you think about that? Did you see that?
Yes, I saw what you saw, but I saw an inherent training discipline that was not incorporated in his first instruction of boxing, and that is to be on the phone. He was not on the phone, meaning that left hand was not in a position of defense. When you first learn boxing, you always taught to bring your hands back in the defensive posture.
Right.
He didn't have that inherent body memory or situation. So those times he would getting hit over on that side of his head with the right hand from Tyson was because he did not have that hand up there to block that shot. So when they were in the firefight, when they were trading punches, he is to come back and be on the phone or a defensive posture with that left hand. It was not there. Look at all the knockdowns, that left hand was just down low or elsewhere. It should have been there. And to me, if you want to look at the bottom line of the fight, it was just that he was unable to, the fundamentals were not there for him to block that punch or get that punch out the way or make Tyson not throw that punch there because the hand was there. That is what I looked at. And also, as you said, he was going the wrong way. He lost some angles. But to me, the main thing was he left himself open for Tyson to hit that to hit that area, and it caused some of the knockdowns and the knockout.
Yeah, and I think as the fight went on, as you got past fourth round, fifth round, another thing that was occurring in the fight that was really smart of the Fury camp was he was leaning a lot on Deontay Wilder. He was leaning on him. He'd come in with a nice, crisp 1-2. I know that Sugar Hill probably told him to straighten out those two punches. And once he started straightening out those punches, even if he missed with the right hand and he fell in, you could see him kind of, press a little weight onto Deontay Wilder and then try to loop up the uppercut, try to just pop up the uppercut from under there. And that got Deontay Wilder in trouble because it set him up for the right hand. And so I saw that happening a lot. There was a lot of, he just started breaking him down. Once you got past the fifth round, I saw a lot of change in Deontay Wilder. I saw a lot of fatigue coming in physically and in terms of how he was using that jab. Whereas early on in the fight, Deontay Wilder, one of the things I was hoping I would see him do, which I did early on in the fight, was that Deontay Wilder was able to maintain that rhythm that we talked about in the pre-podcast. If you haven't heard the podcast, go check it out. We broke down all the preliminary fights and everything that happened on TV, et cetera, et cetera. But one of the things we talked about was that, the rhythm was there early on. But as soon as he started to get roughed up by Tyson and they started to do exchanges, and he dropped Tyson, right? So when Tyson Fury went down, there was almost like a shift in his game plan. It was almost like that's where I felt there wasn't any continuity to what he was doing after that moment. What do you think about that, Harold? Talk to me.
Well, I agree with that. After the fifth round, things changed. He went away from some of the training that he was trying to incorporate.
Right.
And he kind of reverted back to what got him there in the first place. However, because he did knock Tyson down in the fourth round, he began to step to him to affect that power and end the fight. So
right.
He left himself available for the tactics that that Tyson wanted to incorporate, and there it was. He abandoned that training, not abandoned it, but he stopped using the jab and moving around because he wanted to stand in the pocket and see if he can deliver and close it out because he had done so in the fourth round. Success sometimes puts you in a situation where you put yourself in a negative situation because you're looking for that same opportunity again, and you stand in a situation where you can, be taking advantage of yourself.
Yeah, and I felt like he was, you can see here in the photo, like he was clubbing with the right hand. Once you got past the fifth round, I think this is a shot from like round 6. But once he got into like the 6th round, Harold, he started clubbing. There was a lot of clubbing with the right hand. It wasn't crisp and straight,
Yes, it seems as such that's what happened because he was looking to come around and catch him and end it as he knocked him down in the fourth round. So they got in the pocket, and the quicker man got to the target quicker than the other, obviously. And what you had was just a lot of fundamentals that were obviously on Tyson's side because he did a lot of movement with his hands, his head when he was in the pocket. Whereas Deontay was looking to drop that right hand, and he was trying to set it up, in the fashion that Deontay Wilder uses.
Right. Well. So Harold, I want you to look at this photo and tell me what you were thinking. Tell me what you think about this shot because this is what I was talking about with him, with Tyson leaning on him a lot. Like look at this photo, and you can see how he's leaning, like just pressing on him, dropping his shoulder down on Deontay Wilder, and really getting the best of these infighting moments.
Oh yeah, that's he used that weight advantage he had, the height advantage he had, and it was just a wise move to use his physicality in the weight department to have an advantage. And you cannot discount the strategy, the step to him strategy, to putting the weight on. I mean, weighing himself on him, pushing him. I mean, it was well done. I mean, he did a great job. He knew exactly what he needed to do. Even if Deontay was sharp with the new training techniques, to putting the pressure on him, putting his weight on him was going to be effective.
Yeah, I mean, and as you just were mentioning that, you can see here, this was a recurring action throughout the whole fight where Tyson Fury would just lock it up. He just before this photograph, he came in with a 1-2, like he dropped a 1-2, tried to throw a 3, didn't get the 3 off, and locked him up just like this, and then started putting all his body weight on him. And I think that this was in round 7, and as you know, that's going to take a lot of it's gonna burn a lot of energy, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I agree with that. Just to have that arm around his neck and just pushing him down, and just I would see him just throw his entire torso, just condense all of that weight, on Deontay. I mean,
There it is again.
He just really put the weight on him and lean back against the ropes, feel that extra poundage, and with the fatigue that Wilder was starting to get to, because he had tried to take him out the 4th, 5th round. He was already exhausted, and this extra just poundage, just drawing the life out of you. He did it the right way. I mean, I can't say anything other than the way he fought was very wise. He used everything he had.
Yeah.
And
I mean, there you go again. Look at that. I mean, a lot of
well
folks
done.
that are not watching or don't understand what that does. Like when you're fighting, how many pounds did he have on Deontay Wilder in this fight?
Well, he was at 77, 277, and Wilder was at 238.
Yeah, man. So
if you do the math, it's quite a bit. And that over time, plus fatigue, can feel like 1,000,000 pounds, man. And it's coming from a person who is taller than you, who is pressing down on you. Wilder's used to, he is usually the largest and the tallest in the ring. And this is a man who's bigger than he in every regard. And he was a small man. He was being put upon. So,
and no disrespect. Listen, Harold. No disrespect to Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder has nothing to be ashamed of. He did an amazing job in the fight too. He gave the crowd an amazing fight, and really this fight could have gone either way had Deontay Wilder, if he was able to have landed a little bit cleaner. But this is what I was talking about to you before. If you look at this photo right here, what you're going to see is Tyson Fury with the right hand, dropping the right hand over the top. You see that? So that he connected on that right hand. And that was because Deontay Wilder was trying to move out to his left shoulder, to Deontay Wilder's left shoulder, to Tyson Fury's right shoulder. And this was the recurring shot that was landing throughout the night. And Tyson Fury knew that shot was going to be there the whole night. It was just a matter of getting him and landing it cleanly when Deontay Wilder was tired and fatigued, where he knew he couldn't recover from the shot, right? So this is a really what are your thoughts about that, Harold?
Well, as I said earlier, he never had anything to deter him from throwing that shot. It was sitting right there in his face. It was right there the whole time. There was never, he didn't even have to time the jab to come over the jab because
Right.
it just, when the jab went out, the jab came back low. So he had no worries about, I'm time the jab and drop the right hand over the right, over the left. It never happened because it was sitting right there. So, of course, he's going to take his time and eat when he was ready to eat. And that's exactly what he did. He took little bits here, bits there, and then he just knew that there wasn't going to be any resistance at a certain part of the fight due to fatigue and just being in the pocket with him. So I think as you said, he saw it early and he just waited and used it at the proper time.
Well, so here we go. This is in round 8. So check this out. He's got the jab stuck on his face, blinding him with the jab. Deontay Wilder is trying to step out to the left, and the right hand is about to crack him, right? He's going to land the right hand perfectly flush right on the jawline, right? And so that was, I mean, why? I think one of the things that could have made this outcome a little bit different is if Deontay Wilder was switching the direction and repositioning Tyson Fury as he did earlier on in the fight. The first 2-3 rounds, you could see Deontay Wilder walking off, positioning him, switching the position so that Tyson couldn't set this shot up. But once Deontay Wilder started to stop as soon as he started to take away his rhythm, these shots were landing all day long,
Yes, I agree with that. If he hadn't had that early success in the 4th round, knocking Tyson down twice, he may have stuck with that type of discipline that you were speaking of, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rounds, and
Right.
he may have had a situation where he was winning rounds
Right.
because I only had him winning 2 rounds up to the knockout.
Okay.
So it wasn't a round type of situation he was looking for. But if he had that discipline, if he didn't knock him down, he would have possibly stay out of the way of some of that work that you were talking about.
Right.
Because he wasn't brave. He wasn't had success to put himself in that harm's way. So that is a big factor.
Yeah, for sure. It was a big factor. And, I think it was the key to Tyson's significant success. Now, I want to touch on another topic, Harold. I want to talk a little bit about what Deontay Wilder could have done to actually make this a much more successful fight for himself. And this is just it's just my opinion, but it's something maybe Deontay Wilder wants to think about this, watch the podcast, and, comment. Let me know what you think, Deontay, because I think that you have a good hook, right, Deontay Wilder? You have a very, very good hook. And you have a wonderful 3-2. You have a great 3-2. Your 3-2 is fabulous. Your 2-3-2 is fabulous. And, you put angles on the right hand. It's great. I would have thought that you would have used the body more. I would have thought you would have gone to the body more, done a little bit more work down low, which was, to your advantage, to slow him down and get his rhythm to stop. But I think if you would have put the body work in there, it would have set up the 3 and it would have set up the 2. And I think a fighter that fights Tyson Fury that has a hook in the box, Harold, a hook meaning in the box, like a perfect hook. The fighter that has the perfect hook in the box is the one that's going to be able to penetrate Tyson Fury's arsenal. So I think that Deontay Wilder needed a hook. He needed the hook, and the hook wasn't there. And if the hook would have been there, if he would have come with a 1-2, he missed the 2 quite a bit. A 1-2 clean with a 3 back set on his weight, set down on his weight, nice placement, sitting down in the box. 3, he gets the job done. What do you think, Harold?
Well, yes, that hook was absent that night. And of course, when you're in the pocket, that hook is a devastating punch. And he didn't have that hook
Check it out,
that I
Harold.
could see, as you said.
He
And that would have made Tyson very cautious. Go ahead, please.
No, man, I'm saying he had the hook. He had it. He had the hook. He just didn't use it. He has the hook. Here, I'll prove it to you. Look at this. Look at the hook. Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
I do.
That hook right there that we're looking at here, folks, that was the key to victory. Okay. Now, if you look at Deontay Wilder's legs, I don't have my arrow pointer. If I had an arrow pointer, it'd be great. But if you look at the picture and you look at his legs, what you notice is that his legs are straight. He is not bent down. He's not low. His elbow isn't tight on the right side. Like he doesn't have a nice tight guard on the right side. So if he throws that hook in the box and turns over that hip right there, that Tyson Fury goes down. Okay. But it was a slapping hook. And because it was a slapping hook and he didn't put any credence into it, he wasn't able to get the job done. The secret to this fight would have been the hook. Talk to me, Harold.
Well, I agree with that. I continue to see exactly what you're saying with that hook. Now, that hook, that picture there, his feet were pretty close together, so there was really no leverage on it. And as you said, it was a slap. So going forward in his career, I'm sure he's going to develop proper placement with his footing, and so he can deliver that hook.
Check this out. Check this out, Harold. This is after he landed a clean right hand. He landed a clean right hand right down the pocket. Look at Tyson reaching around him. He's lost his balance. Deontay Wilder clipped him with a perfect hook. And you know what he didn't do? He didn't follow up with the hook, Harold.
Right. Follow. He caught him with the right hand and he needs to follow up with the hook.
Look at this. Look at this shot. He landed that right hand. You can't really tell that well from the photograph, but he landed that shot so cleanly. And had he landed that shot, it would have. I mean, what do you think, Harold? That because he has a hook.
I see the hook sitting right there. I see his arm right there in position to deliver that hook to a man who has no defense against it.
Yeah, he's already hurt. Look, he's reaching with his left hand. He's reaching around because he got clipped there, you know?
Yes. And his footwork is proper. Deontay Wilder's footwork is proper. He would have really delivered a very powerful blow there. But he just didn't have the fun. But Mark, this goes back to what I said earlier in our broadcast about the fundamentals.
Right.
Fundamentals are what I spoke of earlier, and the fundamentals are you throw a right hand, you come back, you follow with a hook. That is, a basic fundamental. That's what I taught my own son. The right hand, and come back with the hook, and that's just for So that's the kind of thing that you have to be able to do. So I'm sure they go back and look at this, and they'll see situations where they could have improved upon. And going forward, if they fight him or anyone else, I'm pretty sure that left hook is going to be something that he's going to try to incorporate.
Check this out.
Because it was there, as you said, all night.
Check this out. Look at the body. Excuse me. Look at the body, Harold. Look at the body in the photo.
Yes.
Tyson Fury's body is wide open, right? Look at the guard. Look at around the guard, around the right arm of Tyson Fury. Look at that opening there. Had he come around the corner with that hook, if he lands a body shot underneath, if he takes a little half step over to his left, and he lands that straight right hand, or if he puts it as an uppercut, I call it a 4. If he puts that 4 into the belly button and he comes back and turns over that hook in the box right through that little keyhole on the outside of the right hand, he lands that shot, Harold. Down goes Fury, and he might not get back up. Talk to me.
Wow.
You see what I'm seeing?
Yes, I do. Very clear.
Yeah,
I
man.
see what you're saying.
It's no joke. And you know what you didn't see, okay, is the folks that are listening out there, you didn't see him throw the right hand. He didn't. I'm sorry. You didn't see him turn over the left hook because he didn't. He landed that shot. He landed the right hand through the guard in that particular frame.
Yes.
And after he landed the guard through the frame, he took a half step back. He didn't turn over the hook. He turns over the hook. He gets him. He drops the hook in. He bends his knees down and drops a body shot. You know, he's just won that exchange, and he might have knocked him out with the power that this guy has. Because Deontay Wilder is a monster. He is like, he proved his mettle last night. Yes, Tyson Fury won the fight. But Deontay Wilder, you know, I'm just saying, you know, and Tyson Fury has always been, you know, ace in my book. I have to say that. He's a skilled, top, upper echelon heavyweight. He's going to be around for a long time unless, of course, he decides to retire. But, you know, Deontay Wilder, hopefully, I really, really hope that Deontay Wilder continues to fight. And I really do hope that he finally gets into the position where he gets the right team assembled. You know, I'm not saying anything about the trainer, you know, that the trainer was not exceptional. The trainer did an amazing job. The trainer prepared him for the fight, put him in the fight, delivered an incredible performance, and a performance in terms of the last, I don't know, 10 years. I haven't seen a heavyweight fight that exciting in the last 10 years. I don't know about you, but that was an exciting heavyweight bout, kindred to the fights we've seen in the past, you know? And it just really warms my heart to know these two men were able to do that. So they both, hopefully they made it at the box office. They made buku money. And, you know, they both can sit back and have a beer and laugh about the fight. But Deontay Wilder's got, you know, he's got a lot more to do. I'm just saying he's got to put it together correctly, you know?
Yes, I agree with that. He has to continue to move forward. I was really happy with his performance. He went out there and gave it his all. They say you can win in losing. In this situation, it appears as such because even the casuals, people who I know don't know anything about boxing, didn't really know the fight was on. It was splashed all over the media this morning. And I was getting calls and people were talking to me, and I was just looking on the web, and I saw so many comments positively for a loser in the fight.
Right?
That he showed his heart and determination, and that was just a great thing because he kind of put himself in a situation where he could be knocked out, and he was going to knocked out, but he stood in the fire and attempted to implement his own will, So that is courageous in itself. So yes, he turned in an excellent performance, as did Tyson. So we should be happy that we got to see something like that. I've heard that it was reminiscent of the Thriller in Manila. I wouldn't go that far, but there were knockdowns, and just the way that it went about, you couldn't really predict who, in fact, was going to be knocked down next.
Yeah.
So 5 knockdowns was a lot. That's great.
It sure was, man. But people were jumping up in their seats. People were so excited. Look, what happened toward the last end, we're going to get towards the end of the fight, right? Where you get to the 9th round. And what I really picked up in the 9th round is I saw a degradation in Deontay Wilder's guard. I really saw, like what you talked about earlier, with him not bringing them telephone. He's not bringing those 2 telephones back to his head, or like I like to call them, two knights defending his castle, right? He didn't have the two knights defending his castle, so he's like this. He's like this, and he was getting caught with stuff that he shouldn't have been getting caught with. On the outside, he wasn't even like in an inside position, and he was getting caught with hooks, silly slap hooks, and I'm like, yo, what is he doing? Like, what is happening right now? You know, like here in this photo illustrates exactly what I'm talking to you about. He gets clipped. This is in round 9, and he gets clipped with a hook. Tyson Fury gets clipped, clips him with a hook. You can see that he gets clipped with a hook, and he goes up into the air, right? Right. His guard. Look at his guard. His guard's completely down. It was just not a good place. Now I don't know if it was because he was hurt, or he was tired from all the leaning. What do you think? You think it was because he was tired? You think it was because he was hurt?
Well, I think he was tired and hurt, but if he had, in fact, had the muscle memory to put those arms up and to put himself in a defensive position with his arms, his being tired and all that type of thing wouldn't have been that much of a factor, because Tyson wouldn't try to throw things to a position where there was no opposition. I mean, there was nothing there, so he had a free reign to go through. So
Right.
I'm thinking if he had his hands up, certain postures, Tyson may have not attacked him in such a manner because it simply wasn't wide open.
Yeah, and here you go again. You see the leaning up against the ropes. Deontay Wilder was up against the ropes quite a bit, Harold, and he should not have been. He should not have been. He should have been in the center of the ring using that stick, right? But he wasn't. He was up against the ropes here, and you could see look at Tyson. Look at how brilliant that is. Now, when I say look at how brilliant that is, what most people can't see, and hopefully the Boxing Breakdown folks can really get this picture right here as I describe it. But what you see is Tyson Fury trapping Deontay Wilder's arms. I don't know if you can see that. You see how he's trapping him? And then what he does is when he finishes trapping, he leans on him. And he uses the power of the ropes, and he uses the power of his shoulders and his sheer, the extra body weight that you spoke about earlier. He's leaning on him, and it's taking so much out of Deontay Wilder as you get into the later rounds.
Yes, it did. I mean, that trap technique was good. The leaning on him was good. The stepping in the pocket to keep himself safe was good. When he did get knocked down twice, it was simply because he was in the pocket and he was getting hit with that right hand, which wasn't a rabbit punch. It wasn't quite behind the head.
It wasn't.
But it was in the vicinity of that. And people were saying it was behind the head, but I don't think so. Because when you kind of lay in and try to trap, as you said, your head's going to be vulnerable.
Yeah, it was perfectly placed. Here you can see in this photo right here, right? What you can see here in this photo is that the jab, Tyson Fury was using the jab to lift him up. You see how he's a little bit bent down and he's kind of like stabbing with the jab. But what he's doing is he's lifting Deontay Wilder's head right up into the air. You see that? And so then he comes down with a chopping right hand around the corner with a little lift. So he's bringing it on an angle over the top because he's got Deontay Wilder up against the ropes. Basically, the rope is right at his waist, at his fulcrum. The rope is right where his lower, probably like the third vertebrae from the bottom, fourth vertebrae from the bottom is. And so when he hits him with that jab and leans on him, it actually bends him over his entire back, over the ropes, and he lands the right hand. You see that?
Yes.
Yeah, man. That's talk about imposing your weight. And he came with that jab, like it was almost like a lead leg jab with his front leg dropping in and lifting him up at the same time. It was really well executed. And I think that, to Sugar Hill, to credit of Sugar Hill and the team, Fury's team is what they did they really worked on the placement of that right hand because they knew that he was going to get, if he was landing it behind the head, he was going to get warned for it. So there was a lot of precision on the right hand in the fight.
Yes, yes. And the way they used the ropes, they had different procedures they were going to use once they got him up against the ropes to help with, keeping him still. I mean, of course, the ropes are used for that, but they had several plans of attack whenever they got him on the ropes.
Right, right.
There was, I saw at least 3 different procedures they used while he was on the ropes. Combinations, movement. Combinations, posture. Positioning that they used when they got his back when we got him on the ropes. So as you said, Sugar Hill, they obviously picked up some procedures that they were going to use, and the one that worked the best rather, was that right hand over the top, but it was predicated with the left hook and the jab. So it was well done.
And Harold, we must not forget in the 9th round the uppercut. So look at the craftiness of this. Check this out. When you look at experience and you look at a guy who you'd consider a veteran, right? Look at how Tyson Fury has his hand around Deontay Wilder's neck. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so he's leaning on him with his front leg, right? But what you don't see in the photo and what actually happened here is he hit him with a rear uppercut. He actually landed the rear uppercut right on the chin, like solid, popped his head right up into the air, and then followed up with a couple of other shots, including the right hand, the right looping hand. Look at his position. You see how he's on the left shoulder of Deontay Wilder? You see that?
Very clear.
Yeah, man. So that was, that uppercut was what got Deontay Wilder in trouble. It was really affecting him throughout the fight.
As it was, truly it was. Well, all I can say is they really did a good job using the advantages they had.
Yeah.
Not only was he quick enough to move around the ring, but he was nimble enough to execute those things that you spoke of. And he's used to being the bigger man, of course. There's no one that he's fought that's bigger than he. So, and when he has anyone that he's going to fight, it's going to be smaller than he. He is part of his technique, part of his success is leaning on people and applying that pressure from up high.
Yeah, heavy duty stuff, man. Heavy duty stuff, and really tactically, I beautifully performed, beautifully done. And like I said, hopefully the folks that are listening out there can really understand what I'm trying to say. Here we are again with the same right hand. Deontay Wilder's trying to. He's caught up in the corner. They're exchanging. He's catching most of Fury's exchanges here, by the way. He was blocking, good defense here. But then as he tries to step out to his left, he gets caught over the top. You see that? And look at the left hand of Deontay Wilder, right? His left hand has no angle on it. His chin is completely exposed. He's completely, and look at Fury, right over the top. Boom. And once he catches him, he continues to move. Deontay Wilder continues to move to his left, and he comes back with the hook or the hook to the body, right?
He does.
Yeah, man. Listen, I could break this fight down all day. It was a beautifully, initially you see these two heavyweights and you think, oh man, they're just banging each other up. They're banging each other up. But there was so much to what led to the victory for Tyson Fury. And I want to say this clearly. I'm breaking down why Tyson Fury won the fight. I am not by any means suggesting that Deontay Wilder didn't do an amazing job.
Yes, he
I
did.
am
He
simply
did.
pointing out the keys to victory and in a post recap, what I saw as being a very big contributing factor to why Deontay Wilder was not able to come out with the victory. That's all I'm saying. And, shoot me down, tell me I'm wrong, whatever you got to say. Leave your comments, man. We want to know, right, Harold? I mean, I'm going
Yeah.
on the line here. I'm going on the line, right?
Well, hey, you are going online, but what you're saying is very clear and very, it's just something that our listeners need and watchers need to see. They need to understand, that situation, and that's something that they're not going to see on the regular. But just the inside work, the posturing, the jockeying for position, the taking advantage of his being tired, and taking advantage of him not being fundamentally sound, his arms not going in the right position for defensive. He was able to kind of
Check it out.
lock that stuff down. So yeah, it was a lot of infighting, a lot of in posturing that he was able to use. What you got there, Mark?
Yeah, no, well, I'm just pointing out what you're talking about, which is his hands down. He's pulling out. He's pulling out. His back's against the ropes. He's pulling out. He's pulling out, and he's going to get caught with a straight left hand. He's going to get caught with a straight left hand to the body or a left hook, decoy left hook, and he's going to get caught with an overhand right as he pulls out to his left. That's what's going to happen. And that's what happened over and over. As the fight continued on, it continued to happen. And I just, for those of you that are listening, the one thing you have to do is when you're, if you're a fighter out there, take note. Do not move out to your left with your guard down like that. Because if you do, you're going to get caught. You're going to find yourself on the ground because, there are certain fighters out there that spend a lot of time in the gym practicing that overhand right, knowing exactly when to throw it, where to step, when to step, so that they can hit you with that overhand right over the top. So if you're in the gym, you make that correction. Tyson, Deontay Wilder, you make that correction because I want to see more of your work. I want to see you out there fighting, man. You're an amazing fighter. And there's no reason for this. There's no reason for this. This has to be corrected for sure. Talk to me, Harold. Agree?
Well, Mark,
disagree?
Yeah, I agree, Mark. But you would be the one to teach him. That's for sure. I'm sure you have drills and profiles that you would use to get him to do exactly as you said. And I believe after this fight, he has more capacity to follow instructions because he showed me he could follow instructions until his natural abilities or natural thought process came in place. So he proved to me that he can do that. But he did fight well. It's just that the inside game, the Sugar Hill and Tyson put together, he was just meat for it. He just didn't have opportunity. And on the outside, he was kind of the same kind of way. If Tyson chose to box him, he could have done that. He couldn't have done anything. The only way I saw Deontay Wilder really had an opportunity to do something was in the pocket at length, not up close, not in a clinch situation where he was obviously taken advantage of by the little nuances of being a heavyweight.
Right.
Like you said, tying up the arms, moving out of the way. Of the power of being so close. Delivering punches that you may not see. That's just come from being in really close proximity to someone. Deeper in the pocket.
So right here, this is one of the blows. This was in the 10th round. This is one of the blows that really started some problems for Deontay Wilder. What you see here is Tyson Fury slipping underneath Deontay Wilder's left hook, which, by the way, was a left hook with 2 steps. So he threw the left hook and he kind of just stumbled out of it. And what happened from here put Deontay Wilder on the floor. It was a straight right hand. It was a looping right hand right on Deontay Wilder's button. Right on the button. Look at his left hand down. You see that? Do you remember that?
Yes, yes, I do. That was a moment that I saw it coming, and it was delivered for
Here it
sure.
is. Here it is. There he is. He just got caught with it. Check it out. See it? Got caught with the right hand right there, and that put him down. He's on his way down right there. So again, the story of the right hand. You see how he look at the angle on his left arm. Look at where his chin is. You know.
Yeah, he was devoid of angles that night to be effective.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was in the 10th round, right? That's what started off the knockdown. He got up. He had his hands. He was strong. He was like, "Let's go. I'm ready to go." And they started to exchange more there in the last 30 seconds of the 10th round. Deontay Wilder actually came back in that round, and he was able to really finish off the round pretty well, actually. Even though he had been down, he landed the best shots in the last bit of that 10th round.
I was expecting another knockdown
Yeah.
uh, because of the attack from, yes, I was looking for, he's going to catch him with a knockdown right at the end. And he got close to it because he landed some of the good punches there right before the end of that round.
Yeah, no,
So what
absolutely.
we have now is what's going to be Tyson's, what's he going to say as in what I did to be successful? When he talks about how he won that fight, what is he going to say? Initially, he said it was the right hand over the top and the left jab. Did you hear or read anything contrary to that, Mark?
No, I haven't. I haven't paid any attention to it. As I said, I was so excited about the fight. I barely slept because of the fight. I actually was celebrating a fighter that I've worked with, who actually had a birthday last night.
Really?
So we were able to celebrate his birthday, and he had a boatload of people. He rented out this beautiful lounge area and restaurant, and we had the fights there. We watched the whole thing, and it was outstanding, man. It was really
Oh,
a great
yes, I'm
night.
sure it was.
Yeah, so I didn't get home till the wee hours of the morning, and I couldn't sleep because the fight was so fire, and I was pretty pumped up about the whole thing, and actually all the undercards were great too. Um,
Yes.
I think this was one of the blows right here. Here you go, right here. This was a major blow. This was a major blow. This was in the 11th round, 11 of 12. And, you remember that blow right there?
Yes, yes. Once again, look at that left hand. Just it might as well be in his pocket
Yeah, man.
because the chin's not tucked. He is stood straight up and down because
That's
he's
right.
in the corner.
Yep, you
I
got it.
mean, he's and look at the leverage that Tyson has
Yeah,
and
man.
the fundamentals. He's got the chin chuck. Tucked. He's got that left hand, in a defensive position, and I'm sure he's stepping forward. We can't see that, and he's coming through. He's executing the punch.
Yeah.
As I said before, Deontay standing straight up, no angles, no defensive posture. He's a sitting duck.
Yeah. No, man. And it was the result, you know, the bomber, man, Deontay Wilder, who by the way, as I said, put on a
He did.
phenomenal performance. An
He did. He
outstanding,
really did.
outstanding performance, Deontay Wilder.
Yes, he did.
Sometimes, this was just a case of getting caught with the shot. It could have gone either way. You could have done, because you could have done the same thing to Tyson Fury like you did in the first fight. And, you know, you could have been the one getting up here, and had you not been just as hurt as you were, but I just, I think you won the hearts of a lot of people. You won a lot of people really, you got a lot of credit for the performance that you put on and what you were able to do in the fight. And unfortunately, in these boxing matches, there's always a winner and there's always a loser. And you came up a little short, but you've made an incredible accounting for yourself. You will go down in the history books as one of the best heavyweights of all time, and your right hand is just something for the history books for sure. So I hope to see you back in the ring again. I hope to see you, the way we're used to seeing you, and just, congratulations to Tyson Fury for the victory. And it'll be very, very exciting to see what happens in the heavyweight division. We don't have time tonight to talk about all the other heavyweights, like Jared Anderson, who we would love to talk about right now, but we're going to come back and we're going to see you on the next episode of the Boxing Breakdown, Harold. And we are going to make it a party, and we're going to talk about the heavyweight division, right?
Yes. It's a nice shakeup out here now.
It is. That's what
talk about.
We really, really do have a lot to talk about, man. And so, I wish we could stay on. It's just about an hour into the production, and I just want to thank you all. Yeah, man, we clipped it, bro. I want to thank you for being with me, Harold, as always, on the Boxing Breakdown. If you are watching on YouTube, please make sure you hit the subscribe and like button. Make sure you hit the notifications so you can get the notifications every time we go live. You can come on with us. You can be part of the conversation. I'd love to hear what you have to say. I know Harold would as well. Yeah, man. And we're growing the show. We're building up our archives. We are, I think we're somewhere in the 50s now. I think we're at 56 episodes. If you're listening on Apple Podcast, we're at like 56, something like that. So we've done quite a bit of discussion about boxing, and we've had
some content.
Yeah, we've had everybody from K9 Bundridge to Teofimo Lopez to, we've had, Heather the Heat Hardy. We've had so many great people on the program. Marshall Kaufman, shout out Marshall Kaufman, King Promotions. Manny Rivera of Hard Hitting Promotions. We've had everybody on this broadcast. So go back, listen to some of the other podcasts. We try to make, there are a bunch of them that are incredibly valuable for young fighters. There's a lot of podcasts out there that just kind of talk about the business of boxing, and we have just been having a ball chopping up some of the boxing events. We will be back on the next episode of the Boxing Breakdown, and we will be talking about Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant. We will be getting into that fight because that's Caleb the next Plant. One. Yo, bro. That's the next one on the Boxing Breakdown, because that fight's coming up. I think it's like in November. And we gotta get into that one, Harold.
Yes.
All right, brother. So without what?
There's a lot to chew up there.
Yeah, man. So without further ado, until the next time, we will see you guys on the Boxing Breakdown. Peace and love, and be good out there. Okay? Take care, Harold.
All right.
Love you, brother.
Love you too.
Fight fans, join host Mark Roxy and special guests as they break down all aspects of the boxing world, including news, business, management, training, promotions, fan reactions, upcoming events, matchups, future boxing stars, title fights, state of the boxing world, and all the stuff you don't see when you watch boxing. This podcast is released each week on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live streamed on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook Live. It's the Boxing Breakdown, hosted by Mark Roxy.